Hey guys, welcome to Unacademy. So this is the daily analysis of the Hindu for today. That is the 18th of January 2017, and it will be presented to you by me, Dipanshu Singh. So if you wish to read more about me, you can go through this slide. You can also follow me on Unacademy on this link and do rate, review, and recommend these courses. So the practice question for today is regarding the Inclusive Development Index, which was released by the World Economic Forum's Inclusive Growth and Development Report. So these are the two statements. So you have to choose the incorrect options from below. So and post your answers in the comment sections below. And then the answer for yesterday's question is C1 and 1 and 2 only on the bordering countries for Mongolia. So China and Russia are the answer for that. And so the first bit of news before that, I want to just discuss about an important topic which can be really important for environment concepts and environment related questions. So this is about the graded response action plan after the Supreme Court's order. So what is it exactly and what are the challenges regarding this graded action plan? So the Union Environment Ministry actually notified this graded response action plan against the air pollution for Delhi and the National Capital Region. If you have been following news lately, you are aware that the problem of air pollution is aggravated, is getting worse actually in Delhi and NCR areas due to a lot of issues, burning of paddy straws from the neighboring states, and there are obviously issues of the power plants not following the guidelines of the Central Pollution Control Board. So basically, this plan puts government under the lens and holds out the promise of improvement in air quality. So what is this graded response? So basically, it lays down certain guidelines which have to be followed and certain steps which are required to be taken. And when the concentration of certain pollutants in this particular case is the particulate matter reaches a certain threshold level. So for example, if the level of 100 micrograms per cubic meter of PM 2.5, there will be steps which are highlighted which should be taken by the competent authorities are mechanized sweeping and water sprinkling along the roads. Traffic police personnel have to ensure smooth flow of traffic and all pollution control measures, and then stopping landfill fires, enforcing pollution under control norms, POC norms, and a ban on firecrackers. So these are some of the steps which will be taken. So this plan was actually prepared by the Environmental Pollution Control Authority, which is mandated by Supreme Court, and which held meetings with several stakeholders from different states across the several months. So how will it actually work? So the concentration of pollutants will be communicated to EPCA, to this body, by a different set of governmental and organizations which comprise officials from the respective pollution control boards and IMD as well. And this will be average for the entire city. And according to this report, at least 16 agencies will work together to implement the various parts of this plan. This include the Municipal Corporation, the Police Transport Department, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, the Resident Welfare Association, Public Works Department, and other bodies, government and non-governmental organizations. So the biggest challenge with this implementation of this is that of the intercoordination among several bodies that are the government and non-government bodies, because a large number of agencies from different states will be involved. And if you look at the prior example of this being implemented, so this was implemented in Beijing and Paris, most notably have implemented this graded action plan from the past few years. And even Paris also this year took the step of the odd even scheme for vehicular traffic to control pollution levels in the city of Paris. So now the national page news is regarding the Supreme Court has ordered inspection of pollution check centers. So basically highlighting the urgency to find immediate rather than possible solutions to curb air pollution. And it has also asked the Environmental Pollution Control Authority to inspect over 900 pollution under certification stations. So the EPCA for NCR Lolis will be set up under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. This was the one which we're talking about in the previous slide. And it consists of chairman and 4 members, has powers to issue direction in respect of complaints regarding violation of standards of environmental quality, discharge of pollutants, and restrictions for setting up polluting process and industry. So amicus curiae in this case was Harish Salve, who suggested that the pollution certificate should be linked to vehicular insurance. And the other news, the central government will hold consultations with stakeholders to ban pet coke and furnace oil. So this furnace oil is basically a bottom of the barrel product, that the last of the oil that refineries produce, which has a high content of sulfur. It is generally used to produce power on the run surface, as it is very cheap. So it is also exempted from the state taxes, though widely misused. And pet coke is the product of refineries with high calorific value. So although it is actually costlier than coal, it is much cheaper to use it. So now it is banned in China, and that is why this is being dumped in India. So the government will hold consultations to keep a check on these. So the next is bit of news is that India actually lost one of its pioneer. Very important news actually. If you remember last year, there was a question on S. Ramanujan. So personality-based questions are now again being framed in UPSC prelims. So Professor C.V. Vishvesharaya was a pioneer on black holes. He passed away in Bengaluru recently, and while at the University of Maryland, he was among the first to study about black holes even before they had been so named. So his calculations were involving about the signal that would be emitted by merging of two black holes. Then there was this quasi normal modes, a ring down stage that sounds like a bells ringing sound that is fading out. This is regarding the black holes. He was also the founding director of the Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium in Bengaluru, and he has also written several books, including Einstein's Enigma or Black Holes in My Bubble Bath. So very important news. Please make a note about it and about his work and his books. And Hyderabad is the fifth most dynamic city in the world as per a study and a report by JLL City Momentum Index of 2017. Bangalore, however, is at the number one position. So this index basically measures the population, connectivity, technology, research and development, education, construction and real estate investments. And this index also shows cities' capacity to embrace rapid change. And more than half of the top 30 cities are in the Asia Pacific region, showing phenomena of urbanization gaining a soft pace in Asia Pacific. The next news is again from the science section. So the LIGO India, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Observatory, which is meant to study gravitational waves, will be ready by 2024. So the LIGO India Center, which will study cosmic gravitational waves, will be only the third one in the world. However, this would require Indian universities to churn out young researchers to train in the science, according to the announcement made by the LIGO Observatory. So what are gravitational waves? So these waves will be particularly useful for studying the black holes, the existence of which was confirmed by Einstein's theory of relativity and the other dark objects. And the reason that why these gravitational waves are very hard to detect and very difficult to detect is that their effects are very tiny and they're very small to be detected in normal circumstances. Now again, news related to science and tech. So India has become an associate member of CERN, so has officially become an associate member with the Indian government finally completing all the internal approval procedures in respect of the agreement. It had actually signed with CERN on November 21st, 2016. So once India gets this membership, what are the advantages India will have? So it will get full access to the data generated at CERN, as there are many experiments apart from the one done on the black hole and other aspects. There are a lot of experiments which are being carried out there. So there will be a lot of information available for researchers in India, and India can also participate in all these experiments. It will give opportunities for Indian scientists and students to go and work at CERN. And if you want to know about CERN, so it is the world's largest nuclear and particle physics laboratory where scientists and engineers are probing the fundamental structure of the universe by using the most sophisticated scientific instruments and advanced computing system. And it is based in Geneva on the French-Swiss border, and the CERN convention was signed in 1953 by the 12 founding states. So do comment in the section below. I want to know from you guys who are the 12 founding state of this laboratory named CERN. So do mention in the comment sections below. And the other is again a study which confirms that silicon is the missing element in Earth's core. So this research was done by scientists from the Tohoku University in Japan, which have claimed that silicon is the missing element in the Earth's core. Because this discovery finally can be useful for a better understanding on how our planet was formed. So it was found that in the study that silicon is a major element and constitutes about 5% of the Earth's inner core by weight. And it is generally dissolved into the iron and nickel alloys. And for this study, scientists recreated the high temperature and pressure found in the deep interior of the Earth's core. And if you remember, that innermost part of the Earth's core is generally very, very too deep to be investigated directly and is considered to be very solid due to high pressure and temperature there. So scientists study these regions makeup using the seismic wave. I have informed you this and I told you about this in the previous sections and editions of the Hindu, where we were studying about the gravitational waves, the earthquake waves. So these seismic waves, the P and the primary waves and secondary waves, are used to detect and identify the components of the Earth's structure, the inner structure of the crust, mantle and core. And Earth's core is mainly composed of iron, makes up about 85% of its weight, and the nickel accounts for 10% of the core. The next is the business page news. So domestic air passenger traffic grew 23% in 2016. This is as per the data released by the Director General of Civil Aviation. So India's domestic air passenger traffic grew by 23.18% to above 10 crore in 2016 compared with previous year. And in 2016, India's air traffic stood at 9.98 crore passengers. But the important thing is that demonetization didn't impact air travel, with December witnessing the highest number of passengers in a month, and a dip in the aviation turbine fuel, that is the ATF prices, by 8% on an average also allowed airlines to offer fares that were lower than by 14%. Even for a few days, it was much cheaper than the railway fares. So the ATF fuel actually is one of the most important cost contributors, about 40% of the total cost of the operations of the airline. And this ATF fuel's prices actually generally affect the prices of the fares of the airlines and their operational costs. So what is Mission 41K? So this Mission 41K is launched by Indian Railways to save around 41,000 crores on the Indian Railways expenditure on energy consumption over the next 10 years. And this target will be achieved by taking a slew of measures, which include moving 90% of traffic to electric traction over the diesel, because presently this is at 50% of the total rail traffic. So the ministry has actually planned to achieve this target by doubling the current pace of electrification. And the Railways has also aimed to procure more and more electricity at cheaper rates through open market instead of sourcing it through Discom. This was also covered in previous editions of the Hindu from the December month. And therefore now thereby the ministry hopes to save as much as 25% of its energy expenses. So biggest problem with the Indian Railways is that they have a very high operating ratio. So that is one of their biggest targets, to reduce the operating cost and operating ratio. The last page of news is from the business page again. So the industry is seeking foreign partners for trade pacts. So India's top industry bodies are actually attempting to build a coalition with the counterparts in other nations with similar interests to give a fillip to the country's proposal for a trade facilitation in service agreement at the World Trade Organization. So this proposed TFS Pact, basically, among other things, it will aim to make it easier for professionals and skilled workers to move across borders for short-term work, as well as ensure portability of their social security contributions. So this will basically facilitate the movement of people between countries, and will and the visa norms will be will be relaxed a little. And the TFS agreements will also address the key issues that are pertinent to facilitating trade in services such as transparency, streamlining procedures, and eliminating bottlenecks. So this will be a good move if India is manages to seal this trade facilitation services agreement. So guys, this is it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. Do mention your suggestions in the comment box, and let me know if you have any other queries on the discuss page. So till next video, I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much.